So yeah, okay, so next question comes from Six Theories. You've mentioned on numerous occasions that you like the Baldur's Gate series. Would you mind telling us your favourite character and why? Now, I'm going to preface this answer with the fact that I've not actually played Baldur's Gate 2 for more than about 15 minutes. I played Baldur's Gate 2 once ages ago, where I did basically the entire first opening dungeon bit, and that was it. Whereas Baldur's Gate, the original Baldur's Gate, I've got far more experience with, and based on my knowledge, my experience in that, and it's difficult to say because from day one I always played it with the improved NPCs mod as well, so I don't know how much of this is in the vanilla game and how much of it is the result of mods, but, you know, bearing all that in mind, honestly I would have to say either Edwin or... I can't remember his name, but the dwarf guy you meet in the mines in Cloakwood. He's pretty awesome, actually. I quite like him. But I'd probably have to give it to Edwin, just because his dialogue is hilarious. I could be boring and say Minsk, because everyone loves Minsk. But, I don't know. Minsk kind of gets a bit annoying sometimes, actually, after a while. Whereas Edwin kind of remains consistently amusing. So, yeah. The best is when you've got Edwin and Minsk in the same party. That's when it gets really funny, but yeah. I'd probably say Edwin, actually. Yeah, he's probably my favourite character from the Baldur's Gate games. He's just such an asshole, but I love him for it, you know? So anyway, next question. Chopper1000 asks, don't you think the Stormcloak Jarls are better than the Imperial ones? I don't know, really. It's a bit of a mixed bag on both sides because, you know, you have some good ones and you have some bad ones. Like Jarl Balgruuf, you know, like he's my favourite Jarl in the game, hands down. I think Jarl Balgruuf is awesome, and he's way better than the Greymane fella that replaces him if you take over the places to Stormcloaks. You know, the woman who's in charge of Riften with the Stormcloak, she's pretty rubbish, but on the other hand, she's not as bad as Maven Blackbriar, who replaces her as Jarl if you take it over as the Imperials, so, you know, there's that. This will probably annoy a lot of people, because I know Ulfric Stormcloak has a lot of fans, but I think the chap who replaces Ulfric Stormcloak is better than Ulfric Stormcloak. Ulfric's a cool character, don't get me wrong, but he's not a particularly brilliant Jarl. I mean, you've seen the way he mistreats his subjects. It's pretty diabolical, actually. I think that's really quite horrible. Especially the way he treats the Dark Elves. I mean, at the end of the day, Ulfric, for all its complexities, is a racist bastard. And racist bastards, in my opinion, should not be put in positions of power. It's that simple. So, yeah. Again, like, the guy in charge of Dawnstar with the Stormcloaks, he's a bit of an asshole as well. The woman who replaces him seems fairly sensible. So on the whole, actually, generally speaking, I think some of the Imperial Jarls are probably better. And in a ratio of good to bad Jarls, Imperials probably win it. But it's a mixed bag on either side, like I said, so, you know. Yeah, okay, so, anyway, moving on. Apparently there was a comment removed. I didn't remove that comment. I don't delete comments, generally speaking, unless it's done first. Comments, you know. So there's one here that's apparently been flagged as spam for some reason. Alright, so do you like the Fallout games? So I guess some person out there thought it was spam because the question had already been asked, and it's kind of not, is it? Because spam is when, well, spam is spam. This isn't spam. So yeah, don't do that, guys. It's silly. I shall flag that as not being spam. I already answered if I like the Fallout games or not, and the answer is yes. But it didn't answer, will you ever Let's Play any of them, and the answer is indubitably. Eventually, I will get around to Let's Playing some of the Fallout games. I was, you know, I almost started doing a Fallout New Vegas Let's Play recently, but I decided to do Hidden and Dangerous 2 instead, just because I don't honestly think I have the time to do two, you know, kind of heavy role-played Let's Plays at the same time in the form of Oblivion and what would be New Vegas. But New Vegas is going to happen at some point, probably before I do Fallout 3 or any of the other Fallout games, because New Vegas is my favourite. So, yeah, that's going to happen at some point. But yeah, I'm definitely going to do Let's Plays of the Fallout games. Probably all of them in the fullness of time. I would love to be able to do all of them eventually. especially the old ones. So yeah, anyway, Fabulax. I'm assuming that's how. Well, that's how I'm going to choose to pronounce it. So there. Fabulax asks, "Do you like comedy? If so, what kind of comedy and/or comedians?" As for what kind of comedy, I have a weak spot for slapstick. Honestly, I don't know why, it just fucking tickles my funny bone whenever I see slapstick comedy in something. Like, I don't particularly care for stuff which is entirely slapstick, with the exception of Mr. Bean, because that's just fucking hilarious. But, you know, slapstick elements in comedy, you know, in a sitcom or something like that, that always gets me full-on belly laugh when I see something funny like that. So, you know, and what kind of comedians? Well, you know, if you want to go old school, you know, Monty Python, etc., they're pretty awesome. Not the 9 o'clock news guys were pretty awesome, so that's Rowan Atkinson, etc., you know, so obviously Blackadder as well. But newer people, Bill Bailey's awesome. Sean Locke's pretty hilarious. Dara O'Brien's pretty good. Hugh Dennis is quite funny. Oh God, what's his first name? The Armstrong fella, the one who was in that Armstrong and Webb thing, where the two of them were basically these World War II pilots, except they spoke entirely in sort of chav speak, except they had posh accents at the same time. It was utterly bizarre and pretty funny. But yeah, that guy, he's pretty hilarious. So yeah, Phil Jupitus, he's pretty funny. Yeah, all those kind of guys, if they've appeared on QI at some point, generally speaking, I like them. It's that simple, really, now I think about it. So yeah, there you go. Let's have a look. What's the next question? What mods do you use with Duel Skyrim? Yeah, no, that's in the description, dude. Next question. Yeah, that's another question about Kaiserreich. Another question about Kaiserreich, but it does branch out a bit, so yeah. I don't even know. MRAJAXX12. I don't know how I'm going to pronounce that, so I'm just going to do the letters. They asked, are you going to do more Kaiserreich? Already answered that, but would you be willing to do more strategy games in general? And the answer to that is hell yes. Kind of the first games I really got into playing on PC, and just generally speaking, were actually strategy games. I have a lot of RPGs and stuff on this channel, so you would be forgiven for thinking that RPGs were probably my kind of main influence as a gamer, but they're really not, actually. Back in the day, I played pretty much almost exclusively strategy games. Age of Empires, Command & Conquer, Ground Control, yeah, Empire Earth, you know, all that kind of stuff. I fucking love strategy games. Great, you know, Dungeon Keeper, Populous, the list goes on. You know, those were most of the old games I used to play when I started PC gaming. Were strategy games in one form or another. Battlezone was another good one. So yeah, I do really like strategy games, and sadly we've not had a lot of them on the channel other than Kaiserreich, but that'll change at some point. I've actually been scouting around recently, trying to find decent games I could do as perhaps a weekend special, like on a Saturday or a Sunday. And I'm kind of leaning towards making it a strategy game of some description. I'm holding off now for the simple reason that the Age of Empires 2 HD edition is coming out very soon, like it's just under a month from now. And I would love to start doing literally just, like, probably not even the campaigns, even though the campaigns are good. I'd love to do just random map games, like a random map game of Age of Empires 2 HD every Sunday or something. I think that'd be a really great thing to do, because I fucking love that game to bits. And I know for a fact that there's quite a few people who follow me who also really like Age of Empires, so, you know, that could be a thing that ends up happening. So yeah, there will be more strategy games in the future, so don't worry about that. If that's your thing. Next question comes from Heavy Blood 1. Jingles, do you like the Wii U? Do you think you'd do a Let's Play of a Nintendo game like the Wind Waker HD when it comes out? It adds some colour to your channel, though you may not be into those kinds of things. I don't play a lot of Nintendo games. The only ones I really have played are the ones that I have on my 3DS. As for the Wii U, I think it's kind of cool as an idea. The only problem with the Wii U at the minute is there are basically no games for it. that are worth playing anyway. Unfortunately, that'll change soon enough, but I quite like the whole concept behind the Wii U, you know, with the whole dual screen thing and all that kind of stuff. Like, I haven't played Zombie U, but the whole, and regardless of how good Zombie U actually is, a lot of the concepts in that game are actually pretty neat. So yeah, like having the inventory screen on a separate screen that you actually have to look at and look away from the actual main screen. That's really clever, especially in a zombie game like that, because then you have to look at a separate screen to like rifle through your backpack, and while that's happening, some zombie could be sneaking up on you and you wouldn't know because you're not looking up at the screen. And that is so clever. That's a really, really, really cool thing going on there. That's a great bit of design. So I think the Wii U has a lot of potential. I think it's a really cool thing. You know, if it does eventually get some really good games on it, I might even buy one. So, you know, there you go. As for will I do Let's Plays of Nintendo games, well, you know, like I said, aside from like maybe emulators, the only way I'm able to play Nintendo games is through my 3DS, and it's basically impossible to film a 3DS, you know, and do Let's Plays of it without actually having to use a high quality camera and film the actual screen and all that kind of stuff, and that's not something I'm willing to do, so yeah, sorry. There's another removed comment here. Again, I'm not deleting these guys. Either YouTube is being weird or you removed them yourself. So, this one comes from Lugor. So, Jingles, cheese or ham? My answer to that question is preferably both in a sandwich. But if I was forced to choose, cheese, definitely. There's far more variety when it comes to cheese than there is when it comes to ham. And ham, I cannot eat by itself. I think it's... yeah, I don't like eating ham by itself, but I do like eating cheese by itself. So, yeah, definitely going to go with ham on that one. So, thank you for that question. Next one is from Harmonic Kelly. Favourite genre of music and band? Oi. Oi, vey. I don't really have a favourite genre of music or favourite band. That's the simplest way of putting it, because I listen to all of them and I enjoy all of them, and what happens to be my favourite at any given time generally tends to depend on my mood. So yeah, the most albums I have for any particular one particular band though is, I actually have like shit tons of Iron Maiden albums. I don't really listen to them very much anymore, but I do have crap tons of Iron Maiden albums, so if there was any band out that I was most familiar with, it would probably be them. So yeah, I've been collecting Iron Maiden albums for frickin' years, so there you go. But like I said, I don't really honestly have a preference. I'm not a big music nut, you know, so I just listen to what I like and what I think sounds good, you know. So there you are. Okay, next question comes from Leo Verhagen. Jingles, are you going to do a Skyrim Let's Play? Yep, already answered that. Moving on. Oh, okay, so XXDarkXX221 asks, so if Tamriel were a real place, what province would you call home? What race would you be? Magic or no magic, good or evil? See, here's the thing, like I've said Morrowind's my favourite province, but would I actually want to live there? You know, ash storms, blight storms, all that kind of crap. You know, it's not an amazing place, is it really? Especially since, like, at one point or another it gets, like, Vardenfell explodes and the whole place gets overrun by Argonians. You know, it's not an ideal place to live, is it really? You know, I don't think I'd want to go too far out of my comfort zone either, so I'd probably, honestly, choose to live in, well, I don't know, I'd probably have to be boring and say Cyrodiil, actually. I'd probably live in a nice cozy house in the Imperial City, and I would never leave it. And as for what race, ugh, I don't know, actually. I suppose High Elf, because they live like for ages and ages and ages, so I think that'd be pretty neat, being able to live for like 1,000 years. So yeah, I'd probably be a High Elf who lives in the Imperial City. I'd probably be magic. I'd probably be magical. I mean, who the hell doesn't want magical powers, given the option, you know? So yeah, I'd probably be a High Elf who lives at the Arcane University in the Imperial City. So there you go, that's my answer. And I would never leave, because the wilderness is a dangerous place, and unfortunately in real life you can't reload when you die, so Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Bojangles8 asks, how old are you and what do you do for a living? Well, I'm 22. That's how old I am, and what I do for a living is, well, I'm a student, so I don't really do anything for a living, but if you could honestly say that what job I have is actually currently this channel. That's the only income I get anyway, from student loans and stuff like that. So, yeah, the only good, honest, hard income I actually get is from the YouTube channel. So, yeah, I guess you could say I'm a professional Let's Player. That's my job. And gaming commentator, if I want to be a bit more formal and put it down actually on a CV. So, there you go. Yeah, so that's what I do for a living, I suppose, at the end of the day. Okay, so yeah, the next question is a good one. It comes from Shrocko the Dwarf. Right, okay, there we go. Got it at the end, didn't I? My question is, how did you keep going through the start of your LP career? I've been at it for about 5 months and I just hit 25 subs today. Did that happen for you, or were they just flooding in from the start? Thanks and keep up the great work. Remind me to check out your channel, because I will do that at some point. I always like to check out new people's channels, see what they've got going on and stuff like that, give them a boost if I possibly can. Because, well, you know, a lot of the success I had is owed to the fact that people like Variax came along and said, you know what, this guy's pretty cool, and sort of endorsed me a bit, really, and that really helped out in terms of my subscriber count, at least. So yeah, honestly, I'd like to return the favour as much as I possibly can when it comes to other new Let's Players. So yeah, no, I'll have a look at your channel and stuff as long as I remember to do it. And well, if I'm honest, actually, I got a lot of subscribers fairly early on, fairly quickly, and the main reason for that was because the first More Oblivion videos I did, they actually became ridiculously popular. I mean, if you go back and look at it now, it's got like hundreds of thousand views or something mental like that. More Oblivion Part 1, despite the fact it's a terrible video. By my current standards, like the old More Oblivion videos, they make me cringe. They're actually awful. But you know, they became quite popular, presumably because, well, there wasn't a lot of YouTube material on, you know, More Oblivion, and there was only like 1 or 2 decent playthroughs of the game, and they were both fairly out of date as well. So when I actually uploaded mine, it kind of took off because it came up very early on, very high up in Google search results for stuff like More Oblivion. So yeah, that's as a result of that, I did actually pick up quite a lot of subscribers early on, and I'm aware that it's not the case for a lot of other people. You know, there's no magic formula for YouTube success, as you know, anyone probably who is asked this question, you know, kind of says. A lot of it's just down to luck at the end of the day. Sometimes you get a video which manages to randomly get loads and loads of views, and as a result, it generates quite a few subscribers. So, my advice, you know, for how to keep going is just literally keep going. You know, don't lose heart because you're not getting as many subscribers as perhaps you think you ought to be having. Because at the end of the day, if subscribers is all you care about, then you're doing it wrong, really. Even when you're I really hesitate to say this because there's nothing professional about what I do. But even if you're a pro, quote unquote, Let's Player, you know, even then, subscribers aren't actually that big a deal. It's more about the views than the subscribers, actually, because that's where your revenue comes from. So, you know, if you know you do it because you enjoy it, you know, and so as long as you're continuing to enjoy it, then keep doing it. And I think honestly, the best advice I can give you is try and find something that's a bit uncommon. You know, so that might come a bit high. If you really are interested in getting more views, try and find something that maybe will come up a bit higher in a Google search than perhaps anything else. Like if there's a game which you particularly like, and there aren't a lot of Let's Plays for it on YouTube, or there aren't very many what would you personally would consider good Let's Plays of it on YouTube, then maybe consider doing something like that. And the only other thing I would say is, make sure you keep putting out regular videos. The reason most people subscribe in the first place is because they don't want to miss anything that you put up. That's pretty much the main reason why people do it. You know, there are a lot of people out there who do watch people's videos but don't subscribe because they don't like subscribing, and that's fine. But I've had more than one message on occasion from people saying, normally I wouldn't subscribe, but for you I'm going to, because I don't want to miss what you're actually putting out, you know. So yeah, just keep putting out regular content and the people will flock to you eventually. It may take some time, but it will happen. If you put out like maybe one video every 2 weeks, or you put out like 5 videos 1 week, and then for the next couple of months you barely put out anything out at all, you're not going to get a lot of people following you. But if you put it out regularly on a regular basis, that's when people start to take interest. So yeah, that's the main advice I'd give you in a nutshell. That could be a topic for an entire whole other video, if I'm honest with you. If you want some more in-depth like tips though, it's worth checking out the podcasts put together by Squee, Piff, Inferno and Kriana about Let's Playing, and it's called Please Select Your Podcast. If you type it into the search box, I'm sure you'll find it. And they basically do a podcast where they talk for a while. It's literally just talking about Let's Playing, and they give out their tips and advice that they've gained about Let's Playing over the years. And they're all far more experienced at it than I am, and they offer some really great advice. So if you really do want to find out more and get some more useful tips, I'd say go watch that, actually, because that's helped me out a lot, listening to those podcasts. So yeah, okay, so the next question comes from Duel Mac Grumble, I think. My question would be, if you're going to play Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and perhaps your thoughts about it. Maybe I'll play it eventually. Here's the thing, like, I have, other than Black Flag, well, that's not out yet, so it doesn't count anyway, but I own a copy of every Assassin's Creed game to date. However, I've only actually played the first one, the second one, and a little bit of Brotherhood. I still have not completed Brotherhood, I still haven't played Revelations, and I still have yet to play Assassin's Creed 3. It's pretty bad. Like, every time a new one comes out and it eventually drops in price on a Steam sale or something, I do buy it, because I always tell myself at some point I will get around to playing the rest of the Assassin's Creed series, because they're pretty cool games in my opinion. So yeah, as for whether I will eventually play Black Flag, I have no idea. I don't know if I'll ever get around to finishing the Assassin's Creed games, but I would like to think I will at some point. I'll probably buy it regardless when it does, like I say, drop down in price on a Steam sale. And yeah, as for what I pardon me, as for what I think about it, I don't know really. I don't know a whole great deal about it other than it involves pirates, which is great, you know. I'm a little bit disappointed from the artwork I've seen so far that the main character isn't wearing some sort of high tricorn hat. That I'm a little bit disappointed by, because, you know, how can you have a pirate game where you can't wear a pirate hat? It's just, no, it's wrong. It's wrong on so many levels. It just doesn't work. It does not compute. But it looks like it could be a laugh, you know. Pardon me again. It looks decidedly more wacky and crazy, potentially, than any of the previous ones, and that's not necessarily a bad thing at all, I think, actually. So, you know, there you go. In the past, I think maybe the Assassin's Creed games have taken themselves a little bit too seriously, and that seems to be starting to change, and I kind of like that, actually, because I always thought the Assassin's Creed games were a bit ridiculous, really, at the end of the day. So there you are.